change happen in an instant, but transformation takes time. Because transformation is a law of nature. And nature is never in a haste, but always delivers. But it delivers in its time, when it's time. So a season does not happen in one day. A season takes 3 months, 4 months. But you can know exactly when the season changed.
That's a very good example.
But the transformation of the season takes time. And the same thing with humans. Like change happens in an instant in the mind, like somewhere in the heart. But the physical transformation takes time because it needs to catch up.
Hello and welcome. Today I'm here with Henry.
Yeah.
We actually met physically first time today.
First time.
Yeah, so I have no idea about him much. I have just some ideas that I know what we want to talk about because you are a physiotherapist.
Yes, freshly graduated from physiotherapy school about a year ago.
Okay.
So
cool.
I'm fresh out of college.
Yeah, very cool. And so it will be about you, your approach, your experience with Dubai, and wherever it will take us.
I'm interested, man. I'm looking forward for this.
Cool.
Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. So first of all, just tell us about your sport background, or like have you done any sports when you were a kid?
Where should I start?
At the beginning.
I was the last person to be picked after the last person was picked, basically.
Really?
Yeah. So I was always picked as a goalie because I was, can we say fat here? Without getting canceled?
There is absolutely
okay.
It's family friendly swearing. I call it.
Good,
so you
good,
can say
good.
absolutely anything here. Yeah?
So I was fat as a kid. So nobody wanted to pick me up. Or it took me to pick me for like these the cool spots in sports. So I was always the goalie, and I always took the balls like straight in the face. So I was like, screw this. Okay. So no sports. I didn't play any sports growing up. The only sports that I really enjoyed were the individual sports. So I dabbled a bit with martial arts. Then I got hit with the stick and I was like, screw this. I'm not going to go.
What martial arts?
It was kickboxing.
And you got hit with a stick?
Yeah, like a stick. We were supposed to jump above the stick and I couldn't jump above the stick. So I got slapped with a stick. I was like, fuck
I was
that.
like, where do you stick it? Okay,
yeah,
so
like,
it was in the practice.
Yeah, it was in practice. I was like, screw that. I don't want to be slapped by the stick from the instructor. So I quit that. And then I went into ballroom dancing. And basically, one of the teachers told me, you need to lose weight because we can't have you dance like this.
What kind of dancing?
Ballroom dancing, which is like cha-cha, salsa, samba.
Okay.
Yeah, and like
you like dancing?
I was doing it because my friend was doing it.
Oh, right. Girlfriend?
Yeah, not a girlfriend, like one of...
But was it a female?
Yeah, a female friend.
Okay, female friend, okay.
Exactly. And the teacher was Russian. And you know how Russians are. It's like very strict, like very military-based style of teaching. And I was like... holy shit, I don't want to be called fat in a class. So I left that. And long story short, no, I didn't do any team sports or individual sports, but I really enjoyed, for example, horseback riding. So because the human-animal interaction was different.
Yeah, they didn't call you fat.
Exactly. And the feedback was very instant. So if I'm not doing well, the horse is not doing well. Mm-hmm. And I got thrown a couple of times because I was not well. So the horse will throw you off his
really?
back. Yeah, basically because they sense something. So yeah, I did horseback riding for a few years, and for some reasons, I really had this pull towards physique sports athlete and bodybuilding especially. And I still remember the day I bought. Do you still remember the CD players?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
how old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
same age. So okay.
So I bought a DVD for Mr. Olympia. It was either 2000 or 2000, around 2000, early 2000. And I remember playing that video and seeing them posing on stage. And I was like, fuck, I love this. I was still a fat kid then. And then I stripped down, stayed in boxers, rolled the boxers.
When you're saying 2000, that's you were 7.
Yeah, I was... Right? Yeah,
7, 8?
Early teenage or
okay,
very early.
Sorry to interrupt that. I just want to make it clear. When you said you did the martial art, when you said you did the dancing, what age was this? Roughly?
9th grade.
Okay,
that was between 6th grade to 9th grade.
Okay, so that's age of
probably towards 15, 16.
12 to 15.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was around that time, I think, when I...
And why were you fat? I mean, now looking at it back, what was it the food? Was it lack of activity? Because it doesn't... I mean, now it's different, right?
Yeah.
But in that days, it wasn't that common. Or at least where I was I had one classmate, maybe 2 out of 30 that we would say okay, he is really overweight or fat, And other than that, we were all, I'm not saying athletic, but pretty normal, if not athletic,
Looking back at it right now, I can say it was emotional regulation. So you know how food affects us emotionally. And in a family, love and affection in the Arab country is tied to food somehow, or food is tied to love and affection. Mm-hmm. So every family meeting, every family outing, every event had food in there. It wasn't we're there for each other. No, food was there. And the way I emotionally regulated myself was food, because it was my go-to for safety when I felt overwhelmed. So when we eat, we down-regulate. So it was me trying to down-regulate as much as possible.
So basically that was you pushing yourself back to parasympathicus a little bit.
100%.
Wow.
So I was now I can see I was a very sensitive kid. And I didn't know what to do with myself back then. Mm-hmm. And I was holding on to this anger and rage. And the only way I can make sense of this is by down-regulating through food.
That's very deep analysis.
Yeah,
that's very cool that you are actually aware of it.
Yeah,
right?
Thank God for therapists.
You got some?
Yes. When I was in Netherlands, so I started working with a therapist, just to make sense of everything, because I couldn't find the answers.
Yeah, sometimes you need.
I need someone from the outside.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I got help there, and where were we? We were about sports. Yeah. So I remember
this happens a lot. Yeah.
I remember the day when I told you about the Mr. Olympia one, and I started seeing these huge men shredded and started posing. So I stripped down, stayed in the boxers, rolled the boxers. My cousin was next to me, and we started
flexing.
I was flexing, and I had this big belly and stuff. So that was the first drop. That was the first seed. But I never actually went full force into bodybuilding until one day my dad took me to a gym. But the trainer there put me on the treadmill for 45 minutes. And I remember I was crying my ass off. I hated my dad. I hated the gym and I hated the coach. I was like, fuck you guys. I'm never going to do this again. So he took me back home. And
this is a very, very cool point that is many times very neglected. Like, you know, we hear a lot on social media and anywhere from everybody, like, you just need to suck it up and you need to go and do it anyway, even you don't like it. Like, yes, however, that only applies to a certain degree. Because if you will build, like you did, like one day made you hate it. Yeah. And you will not sustain it. You cannot repeatedly hate it so much. So yeah, some days suck. Okay, then suck it up. But overall, just find something that you actually enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, like what's the point anyway, right?
exactly, like everyone is willing to suffer for what they enjoy doing. Like even on their worst days, they're still gonna go and do it, like regardless. But yeah, like you said, if you don't enjoy it the first time and the intention was for the better, but they got slapped in the face with this thing, then they're not going to repeat it. And I see this a lot we'll talk about it later, but I see this a lot with training, personal trainers and physical therapists. Mm-hmm. Like they give exercise to people that they don't enjoy, and you see in their face, like, what the hell am I doing? And you ask them the next time, like, did you do your exercise? And they're like, tell you no. Or they would lie.
Yeah.
But yeah, guess what? You missed the point from the first place. Like you didn't give them a reason, or you didn't show them, like, you didn't build on success. Basically, like give them success and they like get them involved, like get them moving.
You mean
somehow.
Give them success? You mean give them that a little bit of try them a little taste of what it feels to feel good about it.
Exactly, 100%. Like what it feels to feel good about their bodies. Like make them trust their bodies again. So yeah, going back now. Yes. So yeah, that was like a period until I think 10th grade, 9th grade. So I was 16, 17. I was called an elephant on a bus in front of girls by someone I was really like close to, and I considered like a friend. And he was like, elephants are not supposed to be allowed on buses. I was like, holy fuck.
How old were you?
I was 16, 17. I was like, okay.
You know this guy on Instagram, like you have some you have like some cut and he's like emotional damage, you know?
Exactly.
That's exactly that. Like, oh my God, like how powerful that was for you.
Yeah. So it was basically a death by 1,000 cuts. And you know, when the ego feels threatened to some degree, is like, I need to protect myself. So it kills an image of itself and reinvents itself again. So that was my death rebirth moment. And after that, like I had the intention in my head. I was like, nobody's going to call me an elephant anymore. It has to stop there. And afterwards, my friend's father was like, yo, listen, I go to this gym and I have this coach there. He's very chill. Why don't you come and try? I was like, yeah, okay. I have nothing to lose. I'll go with my friend and his dad. His dad like lost a bit of weight. Mm-hmm. And let's give it a try.
And a good referral.
Yeah. And I got hooked once I went to that place. Like I still tell people, like, this was the only time I felt I can be myself around other men, around other people, because they were very accepting of who I was back then, or who I am right now. But they accepted me for who I was, and their intention was, I want to help you as much as possible. And it was like, it's so weird because that feeling I can never really describe well, but it feels safe. And when people feel safe and loved, they change.
And that's why they thrive.
Exactly. And since then,
that's the basic ground for actually growing anywhere.
100%. Like the soil was good and the nutrients were even better. And this is the thing people miss now in gyms is like, whenever I went, it was underground gym basically. And imagine the gym has all mirrors and there's like gazillion equipments and like photos of bodybuilders, and the owner is actually a bodybuilder, and he had like other competitors there.
And where was this?
That was in Syria.
In Syria. Oh, you're from?
I'm from Syria.
You're from Syria.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got hooked, and I still like remember the smell of the sweat when you go down into these old school gyms. You know, like the sweat, the people with drags.
I have this smell memory or whatever we call it from the MMA gyms where I used to go, because
100%.
there is this we called it Thai cream because it was like from Thailand, supposedly. Anyway, it's like this cooling, heating cream that when you put it on, you don't know if it's actually cooling or heating. It's just this weird sensation, right? And it's supposed to relax muscles, and it has very specific smell. And that with like shoe, sweaty sock smell combined, that's like, if I ever smell that anywhere, I exactly know what it connects me to, right?
Exactly.
Just a fun fact, you know that now this will be very basic description. The center on the brain that is perceiving the smell is directly connected, and it's very close to the limbic brain, and that's why we can remember smells, and smells can transform us very closely to any emotional memory, like cake from your grandma or this kind of thing, because the smell is so close to the emotional center as well.
Oh wow.
So that's why
interesting.
That's why when we feel the sweaty feet, we feel the gym, right?
It's so weird because only one gym here in Dubai I got that vibe from. Yeah. And for me, like,
everything's too clean here, huh?
It's like very, very clean. Like, come on, give me old school stuff, man. Give me the.
I can give you some tips for old school gyms if you want.
Give me the rags and the short shorts and the the caterpillar shoes. The huge shoes. Like
yeah.
Man, I miss these days.
So what was the training like? What did you?
Purely bodybuilding.
It was bodybuilding,
like
routine,
old school bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And I still love it. Like after bodybuilding, I dabbled with few sports. Like I went from bodybuilding to powerlifting, individual sports basically. Bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, gymnastics, and CrossFit again, Olympic weightlifting, and I'm back to bodybuilding. I love it.
You're back to bodybuilding now, yeah?
Back to it.
Yeah.
Like full force.
Do you find, because that's very interesting area for me, do you find that your bodybuilding days and the ability to connect to the muscle with your mind, mind-body connection from the bodybuilding, it was helping you to understand movement and perform movement better in, let's say, powerlifting or CrossFit, when the performance is taken from what you feel like to just do fucking reps, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't do well with CrossFit and weightlifting. Because CrossFit, it was like, shut your brain, don't connect, just do the reps and count. And I didn't find that connection. Like, people will tell me just go. I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want like to end up in a puddle of sweat and die on the floor. That's not enjoyable. I don't enjoy it.
I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, not go without thinking.
Exactly.
But I enjoy really hard work. However, I want to do it consciously.
100%, like conscious hard work. Like think about your movement. Think about how you're breathing. Where your mind is going during the workout. Like, are you in your body or are you somewhere else? Like, when do you actually dissociate or disconnect from yourself? Think about something and come back. Okay, what was the stimulus there? What happened? So
why my thoughts are wandering to work problem
exactly
when I'm in the gym.
When you're in here. So physically you're here, but you're not here. And this is what I felt was missing for me in other sports, except for bodybuilding and powerlifting. So in bodybuilding, it's so weird because as a kid, I was so disconnected from my body. And bodybuilding is so like you have to be in your body with everything you do.
Yeah, we can take everything from bodybuilders, from like, using steroids and having the movements that are so isolated and so on, like all these things that basically the new era of functional fitness or so-called functional fitness brought in. But we can't take away from them that they actually were able to feel what they were training. Like there was always all about that.
100%. And this is the thing now with evidence-based training and just like slapping papers left and right and saying, oh, this is how you're supposed to move. No, this is how you're supposed to move. And now we're shouting at each other and saying like, no, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't have any evidence behind it. But said who? Like, there are still bodybuilders who do these weird movement and they grow like weed. It is specific to each individual, but still you can we're not copy paste. We each have our individual blueprint, individual structure, and everyone will exercise need to fit the individual and not the other way around.
Yeah, you can look at the differences how some of the top bodybuilders got there with less sets and shit ton of reps.
100%.
And the other bodybuilders go there with very many, very heavy sets, but very low number of reps through the set. And they got the physique, not similar, but to the top level. The body looked differently. It was definitely different. However, they kind of got to the same goal with the two very different ways. But the only connecting part that was there was that they felt the muscle working.
100%. And there's this saying by Eric Bagheera. He said, intensity is our equalizer, or something like that. Effort is the common ground here.
When you say effort, basically that was when you came to the gym.
Yeah,
with your father's friend or friend's
my
father? Friend's father.
Yeah.
You came to the gym and you said you were not judged and they accepted you how you were, right?
Yeah.
Well, what they actually valued was probably the effort.
100%. Just show up and give me effort. So effort is the greatest equalizer. So if you put effort into anything and your heart is in it, you will see results. And the results didn't come quickly. And what's interesting is that I didn't have any goal in mind. I just went, and the weight dropped. And I think it's an emotional release. It had an emotional release to it. So I was releasing everything because I go to extremes really quickly. So I went from one extreme to the other extreme. So I don't have middle ground.
Either or.
All in or I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't do it. So when I dabble in the middle, I get really effed up in the head. I don't like it. What is this middle path? No. Screw balance. Balance is created. I can create balance in the extremes, and slowly I'm learning how to play in the middle, just pulling from both sides.
Yeah, you know, to the balance. Like I have this crazy story. I went home for Christmas a couple of years ago, and there was a Christmas party in the gym, and I met this guy who I heard of, but I don't really know him. He's from nearby city, and he was that time training there as well, and he was very drunk, and he's well known that he can drink a lot. Okay, let's put it this way. And this guy literally spent 2.5 hours on that party, on that Christmas party, talking to me that I need more balance in my life because he trains and he drinks, but I only train and never drink. And that was the idea of balance. Like, you need to have that and you need to have that. Like no, but balance is, as you said, it's created. It's what you want to outweigh there. And nothing really grows, as you said, like in that middle ground. If you really want change, all in.
Yeah, 100%.
And if you really want change and quickly, well, that's even tougher.
Yeah, like I say, change happens in an instant. Transformation takes time. Like,
Give me a second.
Yeah, think about it.
Okay, can you say it again?
Change happens in an instant, but transformation takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Because transformation is a law of nature, and nature is never in a haste, but always delivers. But it delivers in its time, when it's time. So a season does not happen in one day. A season takes 3 months, 4 months, but you can know exactly when the season changed.
That's a very good example.
But the transformation of the season takes time. And the same thing with humans. Like, change happens in an instant, in the mind, like somewhere in the heart. But the physical transformation takes time because it needs to catch up to that impulse of change. And the same concepts I take it in when I'm working with clients and patients. The reason why they're called patients is because they're patients. That you need to be patient with the process. So the same things I learned in like, I see the world through the lens of bodybuilding and growing muscles. That's it.
That's a very nice perspective.
Yeah, like this is my perspective. I know I have biases in it. Like, I know sometimes I'm biased in how I treat and how I approach stuff. That's why, like, one part of me is I have a curiosity that I need to limit sometimes. I need to create balance for it.
Okay.
That's like my kryptonite, my curiosity, and my strength too. Because, like I said, I dabbled with a lot of stuff, like bodybuilding, weightlifting, Olympic lifting, powerlifting, CrossFit, gymnastics, and I also got curious in strong fit. And then, like, from an educational standpoint, my first degree was in medical lab sciences because I wanted to go into medicine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Medical lab sciences.
Medical lab sciences.
Wow.
So, but I didn't go into medicine because my heart was not in it. And when my heart is not in it, I'll find a million ways to sabotage things.
You studied in Netherlands?
I studied so I finished 12th grade in Syria. Mm-hmm. Then I moved to Lebanon.
Okay.
I did for the 4 years undergrad of medical lab sciences plus the pre-med courses because I wanted to go into medicine. I failed my MCAT miserably because I didn't prepare for it.
MCAT?
Which is the test you need to go into medical school.
Oh, all right.
Like the SATs, they called MCAT.
Okay.
So this is the SAT for medical school.
We have very different systems. So
yeah.
This is...
And after that, I took 2 years off. I worked as a personal trainer in one of the gyms. And then I was like, yeah, I still had the love for the medical aspect and the movement part. So I was like, how can I merge these two together? And is there a profession that I can like that have medicine and movement? So like, you know, we all have injuries sometimes. And I separated my AC joint.
How did that happen?
Decline bench press. It was
Decline bench press.
decline bench press, and I was very stupid, like 100 kilos. So it was very fast, very up, and
Yeah, transformation.
exactly,
and change.
100%.
Yeah.
And through the process, like I started asking about other professions like osteopathy, chiropractic, medicine, and physical therapy, and I found physical therapy. Weirdly enough, I was studying German to go to Germany to see if I can do medicine there. But my teacher told me you might want to reconsider doing physical therapy in Germany because it's like a technical school, I think. So it's not like a profession. They consider it as a technician there.
All right. Got
So
it.
yeah, she's like, consider somewhere other than Germany. And I went to Dr. Google. I was like, okay, physical therapy, English curriculum,
Where?
Europe. Europe.
Okay.
And I got the first link to the school I went to. I clicked. We are accepting applications right now. Apply. I did the application. I sent it. And then I sent another one to Australia. And that's it.
To Australia?
Yeah, to Australia, to Melbourne, University of Melbourne.
Okay, well, there was a bit of jump of the hand, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, one in Europe, one in Australia. Let's see what works. And we'll see where life takes me.
And like legally and all this, you don't have problem to go anywhere?
No.
Like passport?
At that time, no.
Okay.
At that time, no. We're talking about...
So that wasn't determining factor?
No.
Mm-hmm.
So I got accepted by University of Melbourne. It was 2014. And my university in Netherlands took so much, like so long to send me the acceptances. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wait. Like something in me just kept saying, wait. Like I got the acceptance from Melbourne, but the tuition was crazy, man. I was like, do I want to really go to an island where every single insect is trying to kill me there?
I mean, it's always bigger than Ireland.
You know, like this was...
But yeah, you're paying for a life-threatening
Exactly.
experience.
I was paying for life-threatening experiences there. I was like, okay, just wait. Have some patience here. And then literally like 2 or 3 weeks before I moved to Netherlands, I got the acceptance. They're like, we accepted you. In a week, go to the embassy, get your visa, and we'll see you soon. Like soon, I was talking like 2 to 3 weeks.
Nice.
That soon, I was like, holy shit, I'm going to Netherlands. And where it's called Saxon University of Applied Sciences. The only reason, like afterwards, why I like it, because it was applied sciences. So it wasn't like theory, because I wanted to work with my hands. So it was mostly hands-on teaching. You got
already coaching experience before, right?
Yeah, 2 years.
I really like that. That's my belief that a lot more coaches should learn a lot more about physical therapy, and a lot more physical therapists should learn about coaching, because there is this grain zone in between, and if the gap is there, oof, that's tough. But you got the best from both.
Yeah, so. I'm one of the lucky ones, because I got these experiences, and it's a blessing and a curse, because I drove my teachers crazy.
Hey, it's like when you're saying this, like hearing my own story.
Like
I had exactly. I actually came to the kinesiology by accident.
wait, how did you come up to kinesiology by accident?
So, first of all, when I graduated, I was 17 from high school, and I didn't really know what I want to do. And when I say I didn't really know, like I had absolutely no idea. So I applied to different schools, and I was accepted for history. I really liked history. I didn't like biology. I didn't like physics, and so I spent 1 year studying history. And after roughly guesstimation 5 minutes, I knew that I can't stay there. I was like, no way. And I still remember this day when I have a twin brother, and my brother, he went to study a sport to a completely different city in Czech Republic. And he was studying special education of security section. So it's like a kind of self-defense, hand-on combat, security, police merge, but it's on a civilian school. So you don't have to sign up for 10 years to be in the army after, you know?
Okay.
So it was he really liked that stuff. And I was hearing about it at home, you know, because he was going there and I was going to this history stuff. And I had a classmate and he was asking me, it's like, so why you... So like, you know, you have siblings, whatever, a new guy, we just met and we were traveling together because he lived nearby. And one day on the bus, we were just talking and he was like, oh shit, like this is what your brother is studying? Oh, that's not for me. I rather like sit in the archive and like dig through the documents. And I sat there, I was like, what the fuck I'm doing here with this guy, you know? So it really opened my eyes. I was like, well, no, okay, done. That city where I was studying history had 50-meter swimming pool, which is not that common in Slovakia, that you have like beautiful indoor swimming pool, 50-meter, like Olympic.
Isn't that like an Olympic
Yeah, Olympic size, yeah.
Okay.
And I used that and I started to prepare for my tests, because the tests for that school, there was also swimming included, running. And so I was going to the city where I was supposed to study history just to train in the 50-meter pool for my tests. And that's how it started. And then I got accepted. Also, that would be an hours just talking about the accent, because like I had a flu. I got a flu and food poisoning week before my tests. So I was preparing for this 8 months, being like extremely thorough with training. I was swimming 3 times a week, running a couple of days a week, strength training, like really, really focusing on doing the best I can. And then I got food poisoning from some bad meat. So I didn't eat 5 days before the tests. And then when the tests came, in that morning, I actually ate and I puked it all out. So there was like, I did the worst I could on all the tests. There was some like lactic acid tolerance test. It was basically like a burpee into reverse burpee for 2 minutes, as many as you can do. Then there was swimming, 2 runs. I fucked up completely everything, but even that was still good enough to get there. So I was super happy that I trained hard, because if I wouldn't, and basically I did well enough even on my worst day. So I was very happy with that. So I started to study this. I studied this for 3 years, and then they told us that, well, you know, I had the bachelor for 3 years, and then the master's was another 2. But to get to the master's, you need to go through the exam again. New exam. And they canceled the course. They were like, we're not doing the masters on like a daily basis. You can do it externally, but therefore you lose the status of the student, and you basically need to find a job, pay the taxes, pay everything, and you're not student anymore, but you can still study on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
And my brother still got the daily form of it. But the year I was supposed to go there, it was a year behind, they canceled it. I was like, well, that sucks. So there was a new course opening. They kind of like exchanged it, and it was called Applied Kinesiology. I was like, what's this? So I looked at it, and I always liked physiology when we had it at school, thanks to my very good friend who is a doctor, and he always was. When I met him, he was studying medicine. Now he's doctor, and when we were talking about this kind of stuff, he was always able to explain it in a very nice way. It was easy to understand, so I started to like it because he always gave you like association trees and like how you remember this and how you remember that. I still remember shit ton of stuff just from talks with him, you know. So I really like this stuff, and I really like the nutrition. I was on a keto, experimenting on myself, trying to see what it will do to me. And then one day, basically, I was like, well, fuck this shit. Like, I'll just apply to this one. And I got there. I was second on the exam of all people who were like applying for that. I was like, well, that's weird. But I actually found that test easier than the one to my field, you know. I was like, well, okay. And that's how I started to study kinesiology. And I got a kinesiology degree after.
But you have the degree in applied kinesiology.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what I love about applied. It's like you apply it to yourself first. Like you said, I was trying stuff on myself. And this is one of the principles I carry throughout my the way I deal with people and treat people is like, I would never give someone something that I've never tried myself first. Because I'll never know how the other person is feeling.
That's how Julian works on StrongFit for sure.
Yeah.
He does everything first.
That's what I love about his mentality. Is like we can take these breadcrumbs from everyone. They leave clues. Like when they say success leaves clues, yes, success leaves clues. So it's up to us to collect these nuggets and wisdoms from everyone. So yeah, like this is one of the principles I have. I'll never give something I've never tried myself first, and I don't know what are the results. And I'll never give someone something I don't believe in.
Well, that sounds like a no-brainer, but we know that that's not always the case for people, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless the person asked about it, I learned to be very humble and leave my ego aside and tell them I really don't do this and refer them out.
Mm. You know, you reminded me one thing about when you said not giving people what you don't believe in, and this is actually something that I don't think Julian actually said. Like, he said it many times. I'm not sure if he came up with it or he got it from somebody, but he said knowledge is never given, it only can be stolen. Which basically means that you can have all the knowledge and you can try to spread it and share it as much as you like to, but if that person or the target group is not interested, it's waste of time. And then you can try to protect your truth and methods or whatever, but if people really want to know, they will even steal it from you just to get it. And that's very interesting because that's only showing, I really believe it's true. And it's also how the mentoring on StrongFit was always run. It wasn't like, I want you to study this, study this, study this. No, he was throwing ideas. He was like, I'm working on this. If you want to try, steal it. Steal it and adapt it to your way.
I love that. I wish the educational system was like that too.
Yeah.
It's like...
But you would need figures like him.
You need a lot of figures. You need a lot of figures, and you need systematic change, like transformation and change. Because how many subjects were you able to grasp fully if you didn't have your heart in it? Like you were telling me, my friend got me interested in physiology because of the way he was explaining it, and he was making it very tangible to you.
Yeah, relatable to my situation.
Exactly. And one of the things with mastery is, do you know the self-determination theory?
No.
So it's a theory that states that for people to have self-determination and achieve mastery in life, They need three things. They need to feel relatable. They need autonomy, and they need competency. So they need to actually steal the knowledge because they want the knowledge. They need to have this knowledge embodied in them. Like when you say like, I know it in my bones, that's a competency. And relatedness. So can I connect with other people around this subject? Like, can I relate to this subject with other people? And can I relate to the experience of other people? Like, how many times, for example, you try to explain something to someone and you see blank stares because there's no relatedness there. They don't have the same experience that you do.
It's with Tima all the time. Like, we talk politics, she shuts down.
Exactly.
She's telling me something, I shut down straight away. 5 seconds, out.
Out. Like, even with knowledge, like sometimes we might be talking about the same thing, but knowledge not embodied is not wisdom.
Yep, absolutely.
And you can be talking to me about something, but if I don't have any experience in it, I can't relate to what you're talking.
Knowledge is just a piece of information,
100%.
right? But how you grab
how you grab it.
When you said that 3 categories, or
so relatedness, autonomy mean it's up to me to determine my destiny. If I like it, I'll go for it. If I don't, I'm not going to go for it. And relatedness.
I had my friend Abdallah here, and he wrote a book, The Corporate. He is HR manager for Lenovo. I think like global manager. It's like a high position. He wrote a book, Amazon #1 bestseller. And we are talking about motivation. And he said that after money, you can motivate people you need to motivate people with 3 things. The money needs to be there, so it's enough for them to get it, to get even interested, right? But then you motivate them with autonomy, mastery, and competency. So it's intertwined there.
Oh wow, yeah. When it comes, like psychology is one of the areas I'm really into. Like when it comes to psychology, I love this. Like I love the fact that. Yeah,
I just heard today some guy. I think it was from Business World. He was talking about if you want to be successful in virtually any job in the world, 80% of that is your human skills. Understanding people, being able to talk to them, being able to listen to them, and communicate your message well, which is way less common than we would actually think, right? Like how many misunderstandings and problems, and even in relationships, but also on the workplace, are happening just because the communication is not right.
Oh man, you're bringing something like very close to my heart, because I always say it like love on people, LUV. Listen, understand, validate. Like the only reason I talk about these is because I fucked up so many times during the 29 years I spent on earth that I didn't listen to people. I invalidated their experience and I never understood them. So I was an asshole to some people, especially the people I love the most. And this breaks my heart. And I learned the hard way, like, listen, Henry, you need to listen, you need to understand, and you need to validate their experience. And you need to include them in the hug. And this is the same concepts I try to bring whenever I'm dealing with patients too, or everyone else, because how many things we miss during our daily conversation with people because we're in our heads. Like we're waiting to reply before understanding people. Like
I was just about to say, like it's very different if you listening or if you waiting for your turn to talk.
Yeah, like let go of that ego part that wants to give that reply. And because we're in this very go 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 world, so we lost the ability to pause. Pause and listen to, or process what's happening. What did we listen to?
Wait a second. Try now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, much better.
Cool. Yeah.
So we lost our ability to pause and process what we just heard and see it from the other side. And the same thing happened like in all life. There's this quote by Carl Jung. He said, you can learn all the methods, all the principles, and every technique in the world. But when it comes to dealing with another human soul, remember that you are a human soul. Just come back to that soul level, like human to human, not the superiority inferiority complex. And you see that a lot, whether it's coaches, whether it's therapists, or any profession in the world. Like, I know more than you do. I know more, like, I'll take it to my field of play. I know more about your body than you know about your body. But who am I to say this? I'm not living your same experiences. Like, just think about, it might be really deep, but think about the experiences this person had, like all these years, all these moments, until this sacred moment that you and the other person are in the same room or in the same place speaking. Like, I don't have the same experiences that you did, and you don't have the same experience that I did. So this is where listening and understanding and validating what they're coming with, and then trying, like, doing this partnership dance to find what's the best solution for the problem the other person is giving you.
I think that this really is closing the loop towards what we were talking about before, that the knowledge is not given but stolen, because it comes to how you are looking at the information or knowledge or help, whatever we call it, provided. Are you looking at it like, now I'm giving you the only one solution to your problem? Because as a therapist, as a coach, whatever it is, you're not giving them the only option, right? That's not even there is very limited options, and there might be shit ton of options you don't know about, right? You never giving them the best option for them. You're giving them the best option you know of for them in the moment. So it's still up to them to take it, right? It's not you giving it. It's you offering it somewhere in the middle space, and it's up to them if they will take it and apply it, right? And you can see it all the time. People don't listen.
No, no.
Like they do what they think is the best at the end anyway. I have this crazy example. Today, yesterday, one friend showed me a picture of his toenail. And he dropped something, or he fell somewhere, and it was a little bit black, okay, on the side. And I was like, well, you never know. So I went and I got it checked, okay. First doctor he came to told him that, she didn't even look correctly. She's just like, that's nothing, you can go, So he went to another doctor, being very thorough, another opinion, that told him, well, you should do a biopsy on that. Yeah, exactly. I was like, all right. So you should do a biopsy on that. And I can look at it through this special tool. I don't know the dermatology at all. So they have probably some microscope that they can look through. It's like, well, I don't really have it here, but you should go to a biopsy. And it's like, wait. Like, before we do the biopsy on this, like, can you tell me what it is, what it will do to me? And she's like, well, I can't really, but there is a surgeon who will be able to explain it to you. So she referred something she didn't even know what it does or how it works correctly, right? Or she was lazy to explain, which, I mean, it's equally bad for me. So then he went to a third doctor, and there it was like, okay, she showed him everything, and that was the proper procedure. So he got like one extreme that they didn't even care.
Wow.
It's fine. The other extreme, when it was like, oh my God, like we're going to give you a heart surgery because of this toenail thing, you know. And only the last one was like, okay, well, it kind of seemed logical. So it's exactly that. Like, look at what options are there, and pick some. But at the end, you are the responsible one. The therapist is not responsible for you. The doctor is not responsible for you, and they only can give you a qualified opinion. The fact that they present it like the only truth, that's the problem as well, because it's not the only truth. If he would have listened to the first one, that might have been his reality. If he would listen only to the second opinion, that might have been his reality. Like, this needs to be something that I go, you know, for a biopsy with. Like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah, that's the thing that scares me the most about the language we use in general. Like, our language holds tremendous power. The words we use with other people holds tremendous power. Words are magical. They create miracles. Sorry, clients. Placebo effect?
Yeah, of course it works.
Exactly. Like, you can make someone believe in this water to cause miracles just by the way you speak about it. And in their head, it's like, this is miraculous water. If I drink it, I'll feel better. And they drink it and they feel better.
I mean, drinking water usually has that effect as well.
Water is miraculous, man. So yeah, like, the words we use, like, be careful with the words you use. Like you said, like, did that doctor listen to your friend, and did she listen to the story that he dropped a plate on his toe?
Oh, she didn't care.
Exactly.
So, right?
Like, I'll bring
that's where it starts.
100%. So I bring it back to, like, principle number 1: listen, understand, validate. Always love on them as much as possible. And I'll bring it back to, like, I tie it to, okay, the first time I went to the gym, the coach did not listen to me. And he's like, yeah, this is what you need. You need 45 minutes on the treadmill.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? Because you see him as an authority. You are 100%. A kid, and now
I trusted you.
Yeah, and now you think, like, so the only way I will ever lose weight is being 45 minutes on the treadmill every single day.
Yeah,
and that's your perception.
100%. And I'm seeing all these people work out, and I'm crying on the treadmill. Like, I went with an intention to change my life, and I'm crying on a treadmill, and I hate it. The second, like, afterwards, when I went to that gym, God bless everyone there. Like, they were like, these are your options, choose. And I made a personal choice to do the weights. And it's like, if you want to drop more weight, you can do cardio after training. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna murder it. You know, it's like me and my friend on the Stairmaster, like, trying to see who can actually close the thing, like, max out the Stairmaster and go as fast as possible for 20 minutes. Like, my heart was in my eyeballs.
But you chose it.
But I chose it.
Like, that was the main difference, right?
Yeah.
That in that second gym, they actually gave you the options. So it was in your hands, it was in your power, and you
100%.
were the one who actually chose the path. And it was like, this is the only way, and you either do it or you suck.
Yep.
You know?
So yeah, like, I'm still trying to find a way to bring that aspect of what I've learned into the clinic, because some people have their own preferences, and who am I to tell them, oh no, this is not this will not work for you. I know much better than you. That's why I always ask people like, what have you tried? Did you enjoy it? We have other options. Would you like to try it? Like,
Yeah, like this is exactly the difference, right? Give them the options, but present them without the bias.
Exactly.
Present them with the valid information. Like, for example, somebody will come to me like their shoulder hurts. Okay, I was like, well, okay, from assessment, I can see most likely where the problem is. Now, you can go and get it massaged and needled and cupped, whatever. Okay, you can go to a physiotherapist that will do needles. You can go to a massage therapist and they will just massage it. It will release the pain. Within 4 days, 3 days, maybe even following morning, it will be probably there. Now, my way is that I will teach you how to activate these muscles. Will the pain go away now?
No.
Fuck no. Will it go away in a week? Probably not. Maybe in months, and you will feel the progress, but it's not going to be fixed like that. But it also wasn't fucked like that most of the time. If it's
100%.
chronic, it was there for so long. So how can you expect that it will just disappear? So showing them, yes, this is also a way. These are the downsides. My way, the downside is that it's fucking hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, like we lost that. I think in general we lost that appreciation for it takes time. It takes the time it needs to take, and it's not like our body is not Amazon Prime.
I was just about to ask if you also get pissed if it tells you that it only comes tomorrow and you can't get it this day.
You can't get it. Like that's
how crazy, right? You don't have to go anywhere.
No.
You don't have to do literally anything physical to get the product.
No.
The only thing you need to do is tap and it will come to your door. And we are still pissed that it's not coming fast enough. Like, what the fuck? I mean, how far it got,
Right? Like, just think about it. We were talking about IKEA stuff and they dropped it without the assembly.
Yeah.
How much joy did you get from seeing the end product after you spent so many hours on the assembly part? Like, that was something I really encountered when I moved to the Netherlands, because I ordered from IKEA and I was like, how much do you take for assembly? And they were like 600 euros. I was like, excuse me?
What were they assembling? Like a whole apartment?
No, like a couch and a closet and stuff. They're like 600. I was like, what?
Yeah, so you buy this little set
like,
of
okay,
screwdriver.
Thank you very much. I bought like a small set. It was the first time me putting a couch together and a closet together. And I felt the happiest ever. Like the happiest person on earth after I saw like, oh, look, I did this with my own bare hands with a small screw. And I spent like 8 hours putting two things together.
And you saved 600.
And I saved 600. And then when it was time to sell everything, my neighbor, God bless him, he came down and he had this electrical screw. And in 10 minutes, the couch was like disassembled. I was like, you piece of... You took this in 10 minutes. I spent literally like 6 hours putting it together. But I was so happy because I did it myself. And the same thing, I bring it back to physical therapy, is like, your body is not Amazon Prime. That's going in my head. I don't say that to people unless like...
You can.
Yeah.
You see you can. Yeah.
Like, unless they are my clients, I say it to them. Like, it takes time. It won't happen in 5 sessions, 12 sessions. Usually it happens in 90 days. Like, change happens in an instance. Transformation takes time. Because whatever we are doing as coaches or therapists, we're providing a stimulus. But remember that the body follows natural laws.
The training is only a stimulus.
100%.
So you don't see change after one training.
Because there's an adaptation. That's the thing. We don't learn about adaptation in school. But in kinesiology and other stuff, they do learn about the adaptation curve, the stress, recovery, the stimulus, adaptation, response. So stimulus, recovery, and compensation.
And super compensation.
And super compensation after. Yeah. So when you do a stimulus, there's a dip. So that's the body actually breaking down stuff so it can actually build other stuff again. And then there's another stimulus, and that's how the body...
Hopefully the right way.
The right way. Yeah. But the body is always responding to stimulus and giving us the outcome. Yeah. Others, like all these other stimulus, like from dry needling to training to weight training to cupping to therapy, these are all stimuluses. But as a person, I'm responsible to giving the best stimulus for this body to adapt well. So if I'm giving them these shotgun approaches, I'm literally bombarding the body with a lot of stimulus. Yes, they will feel good because one thing is, I heard it once, is pain is the last thing to come and the first thing to go. But that does not mean the tissue has changed. Tissue adaptation takes really long time. I mean, it takes 9 months for a baby to form. 9 months. And I won't be able to change manually the tissue in 1 or 5 sessions. There are external stimuli that we can apply as coaches or as therapists to our clients. But the best inputs are internal.
That's why building the closet yourself feels way better.
100%.
Because you do it.
I did
That's like in the training or in physical therapy. The external force might be necessary, might be needed. However, if it comes from within, that's where the actual transformation will happen.
Exactly. Internal stimulus will always outlast and outdo external stimulus. That's why you can put all the stimulation on the body from the outside.
Can you get a practical example of what it actually means? Because I guess I know.
Okay.
But what would be the practical application of what you just said, that the internal stimulus is always outlast and outweigh the external stimulus?
So, are you familiar with EMS training?
Yes.
Or electric muscle stimulation?
Yeah, but you can explain it.
Yeah. So electric muscle stimulation is basically where you put pads or a vest on someone and they will give electrical stimuli. This is external, which will cause muscle contractions. And there are a lot of facilities that actually do electric muscle stimulation with movement. But you can have an electric muscle stimulation and do nothing.
Yeah, finish just an crazy story.
It just pumps, allows the muscle to contract and release. But
so basically, the pad is on your, let's say, bicep. You get electric shock,
yeah,
which will contract the bicep.
Which will contract biceps. But this is an external stimuli. Whereas when you actually hold weight and produce force against the weight, now you're causing an internal stimulus, because the internal stimulus is going from the brain, from the muscle to the brain, from the brain back to the muscle. So there's afferent, which is body to brain, and efferent, which is brain to body. So now there's an internal dialogue between brain, body, brain.
That's why when people use EMS, they don't learn any skill.
No.
Because there's no feedback.
Exactly.
There's no movement created at the first place. And there is no coordination in it.
100%.
It's just pure contraction.
Pure contractions. Which, yes, you will see some changes in the muscle tone and how it looks, probably it grows a bit, but it won't grow as much if it was from an internal stimulus. So for example, in training, we see a lot of movement. Same thing with physical therapy. You see a lot of movement. We are seeing external, but we don't know what's happening at an internal level. Like Julian said, position is different than tension.
Yep.
I can be in a position. I'm seeing this position, but what's happening around that? Let's say I'm moving my shoulder or my elbow too, and I'm going overhead with my elbow pointing upwards or my elbow pointing downwards.
The elbow pit upwards.
Yeah. So the elbow pit upwards. This is a position of external rotation. But what is happening at other joints? I can be in an internal torque or internal tension with an external position. But what about other stuff that are like here? Okay, I'm going overhead, but what am I doing with other muscles? Am I engaging?
What is happening on the lower back? What is happening on the hip?
Like, am I engaging, for example, my serratus anterior, which will stabilize my shoulder? Am I upwardly rotating my scap, which will actually give me more of that range of motion and serratus anterior? Am I activating my pec to stabilize my shoulder? Am I activating my biceps? So these are the internal inputs. And the same thing you can apply to, like, my fingers. When I'm working on a client, my fingers are external input. But this will only go as far as external inputs will go. Now, apply external inputs with internal inputs from the client. For example, let's say I'm working on your rotator cuff, because we see a lot of rotator cuff injuries. Okay, I get you in a position where I'm feeling tension under my finger. You might not be aware of it. Because when it comes to pain, like, we lose the sensation sometimes. That's the connection to the brain too. So we lose sensation of where is this in space. So I can provide external input to give the brain, oh, there is something called shoulder tissue there. I can feel something coming from the outside in this direction. So I'm going with the direction of the fibers, for example. Now I ask the client, can you produce force in the position or in the direction I want to? Let's say I'm overhead and I'm external rotating. I'm just seeing external. Okay, here I feel tension and the person feels pain. Okay, I hold it there. I apply external force. But as much as I apply external force, it won't change anything. Talk massage therapy or manual therapy. Now I asked the client, okay, in this position, can you resist me in external rotation? Oh, now I feel I'm getting more tension. But I'm giving this tension, this external direction, plus the internal force from the inside. So now I'm creating, I'm clearing the roadmap in the brain.
So you're using your external force as a therapist to create stimulus so they can apply their internal force.
So they
start to feel and understand what is actually going on better.
100%. The same thing, sorry to cut you off, with the sandbag, for example. The sandbag is an external stimulus.
Yep.
But the way you carry that sandbag is the internal stimulus. So the way I create the internal stimulus will affect how I adapt to the external stimulus too.
Yeah, like this is something I'm trying to explain everybody a lot, lately even more and more, because I see it all the time. When you train, it's not about the weight. And not meaning like, oh, I should go lighter, I should go heavier. No, like it's literally not about the weight. It's not about the dumbbell. It's not about the kettlebell. It's not about the sandbag. It's not. These are just tools. These are just tools that you can use to create some tension and muscle action. Like let's think about it like this. When you have like three kind of levels, how much you can create force, and three levels of how much you can actually control your body when you're training. First one is like you do something, and this is sadly still very common with many people. You will give them deadlifts, and it's like, what did you feel? Well, what do you mean? And they'll be like, well, I just lifted it, you know? Like I lifted the barbell, like I wasn't feeling anything. It's like, well, okay, that's not where we want to be. And the second one will be like, so where did you feel it? And there will be, well, I felt it on my whatever, hamstrings, glutes, lower back, whatever the case is. Yeah. And now you're already getting some feedback. Well, okay. So that means that you created some movement through these muscle groups. Is it what we want? Don't want? Correction comes. And then the third one is, which where I'm trying to get myself and with everybody I work with, you not waiting for the feedback from the equipment, what was working, but you actively create the movement with the muscles that you're supposed to. So I don't give you deadlift for the sake of deadlift. I give you deadlift with the meaning that I want you to feel your hamstrings and the glutes. And if you're not feeling hamstrings and the glutes primarily working on the deadlift, it's not even a deadlift.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. It's not deadlift. It's just something that mimics deadlift. But on the deadlift, you're supposed to feel it. And ideally, you are creating that. And that's the ultimate level of the control. When you're pressing, you should feel what is pressing. It should not be about, well, I got it from the shoulders to overhead. Like, no, that's not enough. And that's where the bodybuilding comes to the place. From my personal experience, all bodybuilders understand this very well.
Yeah.
And especially former bodybuilders, or guys who just started in a gym and didn't really know what they are really doing, but they were doing bodybuilding routines and eventually transformed to more functional stuff like CrossFit, powerlifting. They can understand this way better than people who are playing sports, because somebody who is playing sport is always focused on the object of the sport. It's the ball, the puck, the stick, the whatever you do. You're not thinking about your tricep and pec when you're throwing a basketball.
Yeah.
Right? Because the goal is the ball to the basket. Yeah. That's where the strength and conditioning should have its place.
Yeah, 100%.
To redo the whole mentality about how you think about the movement and prepare your body that when you are in that game day, you don't really have to think about it because it's already working correctly.
100%. It's more like giving the body a zone of play, like a work zone. So because we get so caught up with this external stuff, we lose sight of, we become very bound up to one way of movement, and the body loves variability. So when we train the body from an internal stimulus standpoint, you give it more variability of movement, and the more variability, the better options the body has to move. And this is why you see a lot of injuries, because the body has only this small amount of workspace to move in. And because of that small space, you are bound to fuck up somewhere. Yeah. Then if you train the body in, like, from an internal stimulus, like, feel what you're feeling. Do you have good range of motion in the joints? Are your joints moving well? Because ultimately we contract and joints move. So, for example, do your joints have this workspace to move in? Do your muscles have pliability to move? If you're in a very stressed position, can your muscles hold?
Yeah. Can you generate power
Can you
there?
generate power in that position? Can you generate power and not lose it, or like keep the muscle integrity in a shortened position? So these are the internal stimulus. But when our workspace becomes so small, it's like I only have this much to work with. And this is also where training is happening, and this is also where rehabilitation is happening. In a very small workspace.
I believe that rehabilitation is training.
Yeah, I always say that in a clinic, like
Right?
training,
It's just different degree.
exactly. Training is treatment,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
need,
that's reversed,
yeah.
right?
Oh, rehab is treatment. Like rehab is training, because we are training the body to create that capacity. Like we need capacity. If we don't have capacity, we die. Basically, like the body loves variability and it loves to build capacity. This is where if we are only giving external stimulus to the body, we're not increasing capacity. We're just keeping the body in a very limited space. The body didn't learn anything. It's like, oh, there's a stimuli. Okay, it's novel. I need to adapt to this novel. Done. Out.
Yeah, because you don't create, you only react at that moment, right? The body, I mean.
Exactly.
Body only reacts to whatever you throw at it.
Yeah, it's
but
not responding.
Yeah, but it's not creating
Exactly.
its own.
It's not stealing the knowledge.
Yes.
And the body wants to steal the knowledge. And how you steal the knowledge, you actually work for it. Like you make it in your body. Like when you know, like, oh yeah, I've been there before. I know what to do. Like
That's why consistency is so important.
100%.
That's how you keep.
When you carry a sandbag, it's like, oh, I don't need to think about it anymore because it's in my body. Like my body holds that knowledge. That's wisdom.
Yeah.
And we
Maike was talking about it as well when she came here to train with us one day, and we were doing the demo deadlifts. And I was like, well, just grab it and feel your hamstrings. And I think she was getting maybe more frustrated than she admitted at this moment. But I mean, that's normal, right? It took her maybe 45 minutes to actually get what I meant. Okay. Now, because she taught her body, she understood like, okay, I need to be in this position. I need to pump up and down to feel my hamstrings. But it wasn't happening. And it was like, I feel lower back and I feel this and I feel this. Now, she can get there and do it within 20 seconds or 30 seconds. So from 45 minutes to 20 seconds. And she's not doing it even like extremely regularly. She just knows how to do it now. So it clicks and it comes faster and faster.
You know what I love? Like what I'm hearing here is like it was like play.
Yeah. This is what Julian is talking a lot about. Don't give people objectives. No. Give them constraints.
Yeah.
So like play. It's open system.
100%.
I want you to do this. Again, I only offer options. I think from my experience, if you, let's say in the demo deadlift, if you lean more towards the toes, you will probably get it more likely. If you go a little bit, this and this, again, kind of guiding into position. But the position is not the key. Because eventually you're supposed to do it in absolutely any position. Wide stance, close stance, split stance. Yeah. Bending over when you drop something. You should still do the same thing. Yeah. So you can't fixate it. Okay, so this is the exact stand you do it at. Like, no, any stance. Yeah. If you are learning how to do it, and it's taking you time, there are probably certain parameters that if we fix, you can get there faster.
Yeah.
But that's only for the beginning. Then do it wide stance, do it this, do it with kettlebell, do it with dumbbell, do it with sandbag. Because that doesn't matter. Do it with your body weight only. Just lean over and let your trunk be the weight that is dragging you down and activate hamstrings that way. you know?
Yep. I mean, that's one thing I really liked about the way Julian was teaching stuff. And for example, let's take very simple stuff: shoulder external rotations. Like you see a lot
That's
of
not
people.
simple. I mean, for us,
Common.
but
Common.
okay, let's try. Yeah.
Like, I love the idea of a stick. It's creating tension, internal stimulus.
Oh, pec stick.
Yeah, the pec stick.
Oh yeah. Shit,
It's like, let's move outside the standard model of rehabilitation. Let's think outside the box now. Take a stick, do an external rotation, put it overhead. Okay, I will feel my external stabilizers of the shoulder working much more when I'm isometrically or like bending the stick and going overhead, because what are their functions? Stabilizing the shoulder.
I will just explain for some people who might not know what pec stick is this spring.
Yeah, a spring, and you just bend it.
It's a spring that you bend.
So if you
bend
watch,
it, so you create
tension.
So you create tension in ideally on your chest. Yeah.
Like what they're called chest pumps, because I remember Arnold one day they had like, I think, an advertisement.
Was Arnold doing this?
Yeah, I think Arnold, and you see in some of the pictures in Generation Iron, like Arnold and some of the guys like with a pec stick, and they're like flexing it.
Oh wow, okay.
So they used it actually to squeeze and feel their muscle for posing. So
Okay, so it was for posing.
Exactly. And like they say, like, it will build muscle, like old stuff, like, whatever. So imagine if we took that, create tension, and go overhead and just hold there. And now you're creating the internal stimulus. But you
use the tool.
Yeah, you use the tool to create.
But it's not about the tool.
It's not about the tool. And the same thing, like, we can still do the red bands, external rotations and stuff, but
okay, I have one.
I have my pet peeves with these, man. I don't like them.
I have a controversial thing for you. This is also something I learned from Julian, so just giving credit where it's due. The rotator cuff, you mentioned it already.
Yep.
So many people, like I was sprained and torn and this and this. I never treated a person with rotator cuff problem by targeting rotator cuff.
Me neither.
Yeah. Okay, so you agree with the fact that it's not about the rotator cuff, that the rotator cuff is the last resort where the body will put the tension when there is nothing else left.
Yeah, because it's like, dude, I don't know how to activate this muscle or this muscle. Oh, wait, the only option I have is this little thing called we call it a rotator cuff on the back of the shoulder, because this is the closest to the shoulder and this is the only thing I can feel.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put all that work into that tiny piece of meat and let it work. Guess what? You have the pecs, you have the serratus anterior, you have your lats. These are big muscles. These are huge muscles, and they all attach, and you have the biceps and you have the triceps. These are muscles that actually stabilize the shoulder superiorly and inferiorly, and like in all direction. Whereas the rotator cuff just does one line of pull to the shoulder. And now you're telling me this muscle needs to do extension, rotation, flexion, and all the stuff that the other muscles that you don't feel actually, like, the muscles that need to do the work, they're not doing their work.
Yeah. And that's why it's going where it's going.
Yeah.
And then you will see, I hope it's getting better, but I've seen it before. And some people would be like, well, I found this online, the YouTube coaches are the best, or YouTube therapists are the best, like, to strengthen your rotator cuff. Like, what the fuck? You don't need to strengthen your rotator cuff if your lats are weak, if your pecs are weak. Like, focus on the big things first.
Yep.
Do you want to hold the kettlebell or whatever it is overhead on your rotator cuff? Yeah, probably not. Probably you want, probably you want something a little bit stronger to help you with that, right?
100%. And the same thing, for example, you see with low back pain. It's like train your low back. I was like, excuse me, sir. Your low back is a piece of
just flanks.
Yeah.
Right?
Like there's no muscle in the low back. What's a lower back? Like this is something I took from Jordan Shallow, Dr. Jordan Shallow. His brain is just brilliant. So if you look at the anatomy, for example, low back pain is basically, like you said, lats, glutes, obliques, external obliques, transverse abdominis. These are all the muscles that actually come together and form a nice Christmas tree. They call it Christmas tree in the back.
Yeah. They are all around,
surrounding
what we call lower back.
100%.
Yeah.
So the same thing with the shoulder or the rotator cuff. Did I come to this point? I don't know. I had the point, but I lost it.
No, no, that's fine.
So yeah, like
so you were saying about the rotator cuff and the lats and pecs is the same as lower back
pain. So low back pain. Okay. What are the big rocks now? Guess what actually pulls on the low back and creates stability there? You have big lats, not just erectors. You have the big back. You have your engine, which is the glutes. You have the, and if you stabilize the hips, the adductors and the hamstrings, and now you have external rotators and transverse abdominis. So now you are creating that beautiful pull all around the lower back. Now, once that piece of thing is stabilized, your body's not going to send pain signals there.
Why would it?
Why would it?
The tension is somewhere else.
It's stable.
Yeah.
And the same thing with everything in the body. Like the body responds. Like pain is not something to run away from. It's just like a signal on a dashboard. Like
I had in a different context, but I still use it. I had a self-defense teacher.
Okay.
And he would come, we had like wooden sticks, whatever. He would like smack us, like get used to it. It's just information. Pain is just an information that something's going on.
Yep.
So absolutely like focusing on, isn't that like a golden rule of physiotherapy that you should not look for the source of the problem where the pain is, because 95% of the time it will be somewhere else.
Yeah, it's not there.
Yeah. If it's your lower back, well, it's not your lower back.
Yeah.
If it's your shoulder at the back hurting, probably not there, right?
Yeah, unless it's a traumatic injury or something.
Of course, if I shoot you to the shoulder, it's probably going to hurt there, but that's different.
It's like,
but especially the chronically developed issues.
Yeah, and we still haven't went into upstream what's happening here in the brain. Like how many times I lost count of how many times I've seen people coming with somatic pain that is not somatic or body pain, which is psychosomatic pain. And also we don't actually get trained in these stuff. Like what is psychosomatic pain? How many times, I don't know, have you seen people come to you with low back pain and you give them something hard and they prove to themselves that they can actually do it and their low back pain goes away?
Yeah. So many times.
Yeah,
it's safety.
Exactly, safety. Yeah. It's like,
I also have a client and friend of mine who used to have pretty solidly developed chronic shoulder pain. And now it's, I wouldn't say 100% fixed, but it's very, very well under control because we're doing the right stuff. But the funny part was that when she went for a holiday, it disappeared. 2 days before she went to her holiday, it disappeared. And 1 day before she came back from holiday, it reappeared again.
Oh, wow.
And that was not once.
I mean, I can imagine like the first thing that comes to mind is like, what load are you carrying on your shoulders?
Yep. Exactly. It's mind blowing, but it's hard to measure. It's impossible to measure, and well, we can go into this voodoo stuff.
I mean, this is one thing I don't bring to the clinic as often because I need to be careful with who I'm talking to.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to have people who really trust you,
Yeah,
and
like
you
who
trust them.
understand
That,
these stuff. Like,
who actually are willing to accept that shoulder pain might be coming from your brain. It's all coming from the brain. Come on, yeah. But then, like knees as a stability.
yeah, like we are trained in biomechanics. We are trained as technician, whether it be coaches or therapists or anyone. But we often forget the psychosocial aspect of the human.
Yeah.
Like I go back to that Carl Jung quote. You can learn the theories, principles, and techniques, but when you're dealing with a human, become another human. And we need to put something like, I'm not going to say we need to, but try our best to understand that person, understand their pain, validate their pain, and then give them the best that we can and put our biases aside. That's something I really had to learn the hard way because, as I told you, I see through the lens of training and through bodybuilding and through all the experiences I've been through.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to sometimes step away and know that I am only a facilitator of healing. And I choose my words carefully because facilitator is, I'm just making things easy. I don't fix a body. I don't heal a body. I facilitate the healing process. The patient does the work, or the client does the work. The body does the healing. And as a coach and as a therapist, my goal is, my intention is, how can I provide an environment that will allow this person to gain their trust back in their body's ability to heal. Because nature wants to grow and wants to heal. Always. That's a natural law. And we need to respect these natural laws. If you cut yourself, no matter what I do, I'm not the one healing the body. There's something bigger than me and everyone else that is doing the job. The body heals itself.
We just shouldn't be in a way too much.
Yeah, cut myself, the body heals. Cut a tree, the tree heals and grows. The same thing with everything. We just provide the environment for growth and for healing.
When you said the environment creates behavior and behavior creates identity.
100%.
There's also, I want to mention this when you were mentioning your story with the gym, right? The first gym versus the other gym. The environment and attitude there created your behavior, which created your identity within that environment.
Yep.
And then it looped back, right?
100%.
From one, you ran away. In the other one, it actually stayed with you till this day, right?
Yep. Because, like you said, environment, ultimately everything comes down to environment. If you go down into psychology and all these stuff, like the environment. And that's why I said
not only psychology,
everything.
Also, what is epigenetics?
100%.
Right?
It's environment.
Yes.
It's your internal environment. The same thing, like when we were talking about.
This is I want to clarify this. Environment in a meaning of how you see it, not the physical environment, your internal environment,
Exactly.
how you see things are happening. Because you can have two people in the exact same physical environment, but the perception will be different, so the effect will be different.
100%. I'm not going to disregard the importance of the external environment too, because the external environment plays a key role in the internal environment. But this is like going back to external stimulus and internal stimulus is like, how's the internal stimulus? How's the internal environment? Is there inflammation? How's the nutrients in the body? Like, how's the environment from the inside? Because internal stimulus and creating tension, you're creating an internal environment that is rich in nutrients for that body to do what the body does, which is growth and healing. And I don't know, is it because of the speed of life we forget about these stuff? Is it because of we became so mind-oriented and biomechanical and mechanical in nature that these are the set rules that we need to go through, but we forget that...
When you say car mechanical, right? It's like, well, you said mechanical. It's like,
biomechanical or mechanical, like a car.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. Like, it implies that we are the ones working on the engine and shit.
Exactly.
But we're forgetting there is something more into it, right? The software of it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like, we have this amazing thing that we talk shit about every day. Just listen to, go back to words and language. Like, language is a spell. That's why it's called spelling. So you cast a spell, and when you say, my body is fighting against me, or my body is failing me, what kind of environment are you creating inside? It's like, what kind of... do you see the loss of connection between mind and body? Like, switch. Okay, your body is giving you signals. They're just signals on the dashboard. It's like, hey, human, pay attention. Our job is to pay attention, and we have that's why we take our cars to a car mechanic, because that car mechanic understands the car. And then the car does its thing. So it provided the car with the nutrients, with the environment, with the stimulus, and this car started doing its thing. So the same thing with the human body, but the human body operates under natural laws. So we forget about these stuff sometimes. Oh yeah, my needles will get you out of pain. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Don't program.
Sorry, everyone.
No, it's fine. Don't program yourself for that.
Yeah,
right? And then the thing is like,
what happened? Sorry to cut you off. It's like, okay, what happened when shit happens and you don't have needles with you? So, sorry, I'm shitting on needles.
No, it's I mean,
or you don't have cups with you. What will you do? Like, you are basically a victim. Now in your body, I'm a victim to what's happening to me.
Yeah.
But when you give that person the tools to, quote unquote, fix themselves, it's like, yeah, I know what to do exactly.
As you said, what happens when you don't have needles with you? I always remember when people are like, oh, so should I use a weightlifting belt and lifting shoes? I was like, well, if you're going to move a couch for a friend, are you bringing your weightlifting shoes and belt, because otherwise you can't lift? Like, that's fucking bullshit. Just do it in your most natural way, because that's how you're supposed to do it. Of course, if it's about performance, if it's your profession, if it's your sport and you are on a competition, yeah, of course you want to use the advantage. But if you're using that advantage all the time, body will adapt to that as well, and then you will not be able to do it without it. If you can, somebody will tell me their clean or deadlift or whatever is this and this weight, like, okay, do it barefoot and without anything, without straps. If you can pull deadlift 300 kilos, but you need straps because you can't grip it, you're not strong to lift it. You're not, because you're using the straps to lift it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like, okay, cool for a development, for a training, cool. However, still go back to the roots and focus on developing that primarily like naked way of doing it.
100%.
No external stimulus, no external help, no, if you need to sniff something, that's not you.
No.
You're just cheating there a little bit.
Oh, you remind me once, like, that's a tangent story. It's like my first powerlifting competition, and I had the last deadlift, and it's like, here, salt, smell it. I was like, what? They're like, smell it. I was like, and I was like, guys, I can't go deadlift that way. Because I I almost fainted. I was like,
that was a big smell.
What the fuck did you just give me? I was like, I was doing good here. Like, I didn't
Strong
want
sniff.
I was like, I don't want these. I don't know, salts.
I never actually tried it.
Oh my God. Like, if I come close to it, like, do you remember how he told me, like, there's smell and the limbic stuff? If I smell this stuff, it's like, I get this faint-like symptoms, like, oh my God, I'm going to faint here. I was like, how do you sniff this like 10 times before the lift? It's like, can't you just go and lift it?
Body is bitch. It will adapt even to that
Oh
shit,
my
right?
God. It's like...
Okay, Henry, thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
And
it's an honor.
We can definitely do some repeat and cover some, voodoo shit as well.
Oh, I love voodoo shit.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.